Hey everybody, this is a little explanatory video for essay number one. We're going to take a look at the prompt, talk about the grading rubric, and I'm going to give you some advice on things you need to do to be successful with the paper. All right, so let's take a look at the prompt. Based on what you've learned about silent movies and swing music, answer the following prompt. Popular culture can offer important insight into cultural and societal change. Discuss two examples from both silent movies and swing music that analyze how popular culture reflected changes that were going on in American society or culture. Okay. When I say two examples from each. Find me two examples from silent movies and two examples from our swing music unit. Okay. Larry May's book and Louis Ehrenbuch's book are filled with examples of how silent movies reflected things that were changing in American society and culture. Ehrenberg's book is the same way. I've been talking a lot about this in lecture. Finding two examples from each of these should not be a big problem. So find two from each unit that you find interesting and compelling, that you think you could do a good job of analyzing, and put it into essay form. Okay, you're going to write a 3 to 5 page paper. Okay, first thing you need to do is what you're doing right now is watching this video. I'd say make sure to watch the video essay 1 in the week 7 module as a starting point for this assignment. It's exactly what you're doing. Good for you. Your response will be a 3 to 5 page paper, 750 words to 1250 words. Should be 12-point font, double spaced, 1-inch margins. If you do that, each page should be about 250 words. In other words, 3 pages, 750, 5 pages, 1250. Can it be a little shorter or a little longer? Sure it can. However, be careful, okay? If you give me less than 3 pages, chances are you're not going to be doing a thorough enough job, and therefore not doing particularly well on the assignment. As for going longer, I remember very distinctly I had a professor as an undergraduate who explained going over the maximum for an essay this way. She said, it's acceptable to go over the maximum. However, if you do, make sure what you're writing is good, because you're taking. She was very blunt. She said, "You are wasting my time." I remember thinking that's kind of fair. If you go over the maximum at the time, you wouldn't be wasting my time, but there's something about the sentiment I agree with. In other words, if you go more than 5 pages, just make sure it's good, because the further you go past 5 pages, I'm going to be a bit more skeptical. I'm going to be a little bit more critical. Now, look, if what you're writing is really solid, no problem. Keep going. I will enjoy reading it. Okay. But you know, if you're up into page 7 or 8 and it's not good, I'm going to be thinking you should have edited this better. You should have cut this down. So can it be a little shorter? Yes. Can it be a bit longer? Yes. Just be careful. Try to stick to somewhere between 3 and 5 pages for this assignment. You have 2 weeks to work on this. It is due March 19th before midnight. Please try to turn it in a little bit earlier, okay? Don't be that student that is trying to turn in their paper at 11:58 and then runs into internet problems and your paper is late, okay? This essay is worth 30% of your grade in the class. It's a really important assignment. So approach it with that kind of seriousness. Don't wait to the last minute to turn this in. Please try to get it a little bit earlier so that if you do run into some technical issues, you can deal with them. Okay. Submit your essay in either Word or a PDF. In week 8, there's going to be a link for a Turnitin assignment. So you're going to upload your paper through Turnitin in a week 8 link. Format your paper in either as a Word document or a PDF. This is just to make sure there's no problem uploading your paper. You can write your paper in whatever format you want. Just make sure before you turn it in, format it into a Word document or a PDF so that there are no issues with uploading. Okay. You can turn it in late, but out of fairness to your fellow students who are not taking extra time, your grade will be downgraded 1 letter grade for each week it is late. Okay. That's not about me. That's about your fellow students. If you're taking 3 weeks to write your essay, that's not fair to other students who only did it in 2 weeks and turned their paper in according to the deadline. Okay. Look, we need deadlines in life in general, but we particularly need them in school, because if I didn't give you a deadline, people wouldn't turn in assignments. So March 29th, before midnight, that is the hard cap. You can turn it in later, but your grade is going to be reduced for that. Okay, let's take a look at the grading rubric. There are 4 categories that I'm going to be grading your paper based on, and it's in the left column here that you can see. Organization, style and clarity, mastery of course material, and analysis. They're weighted differently. Organization is worth 15%, style and clarity is 15%, mastery of course material is the largest. It is going to be 50% of your grade. And then finally, analysis will be 20% of your grade. And then I have a breakdown for my expectations for each of these categories based on various letter grades, A, B, C, D. I don't bother with F, because I'm sure nobody's going to be failing this assignment, and Fs are a mess anyway, so you can imagine what an F is. Okay, so let's take, for example, my expectations in terms of organization for an A paper. And I say here, essay contains an introduction, main body, and conclusion. Introduction conveys the main argument and offers a preview of what the reader can expect in the essay. The conclusion brings everything together and neatly summarizes the paper's central idea. Okay, so you can go through the rubric and see what I'm expecting for each of these letter grades. Your assignment is not a research paper. Okay, I repeat, Essay 1 is not a research paper. I do not expect you to be pulling in outside material and using it for this assignment. Use the books that were assigned, Larry May's book, Louis Ehrenberg's book, and the lectures. Okay, so it's not a research paper. I also use this rubric for essay papers, and some of the things in this rubric fit more for essays than your assignment. This works fine for both of them, but not everything in this rubric will apply to your essay that you're going to write. For example, for an A paper in analysis, it says, demonstrates a sophisticated understanding and careful critical analysis of the topic and thesis, the argument. Compares and contrasts perspectives, considers counter-arguments or opposing positions, and draws original thoughtful conclusions. That part about considers counter-arguments or opposing positions, that would be more for a research paper. I don't expect you to do this for an essay built on class material. So don't freak out if not every single thing in this rubric seems like it applies to your essay. This is a guideline for my expectations. Okay, let's talk about style formats. I don't have much in the way I'm expecting in terms of things like, should I use MLA or some other style format? Doesn't really matter. Again, this isn't a research paper. It's a really important assignment, and I expect you to do a good job on it. But I don't care what sort of format you use in terms of style for this. The only thing I ask in terms of that is if you cite something from the books, and I would expect you to use some quotes from the books. If you're looking to get a good grade on this, you want to show some evidence. You want to back up some of your arguments with things that you've read in the book. The only thing I would ask you to do, and I should use quotation marks on this, is just to tell me what page and which book we're talking about for this. So with this quote, this is a quote from page 107 in Ehrenberg's book. Ironically, neither he nor Basie knew the blues until they migrated to Kansas City, where they were forced to immerse themselves in the blues to please working class audiences. Ehrenberg, page 107. So if you quote something, just put some parentheses, the author's name, and the page number it came from, and close the parentheses, okay? I don't need a bibliography. I do not need a works cited. Again, this isn't a research paper. I know what books you're using, all right? So I don't need a bibliography or works cited or anything else like that, okay? Unfortunately, I have 250 students this semester in all my classes, and they're all going to be turning in papers on March 19th. Which means I just have too many students to be able to read everybody's rough draft. So I can't read your rough drafts. If I had fewer classes, if I had small little seminars, I could read everybody's rough draft, but I just can't do it with this and be able to do all the rest of my work. However, for the 2 weeks that you're going to be working on this paper, I'm going to have office hours. I will have 6 different office hour sessions through Zoom. So if you need help, come visit me in office hours. Office hours continue to be lightly attended. There will be space for you in there. Now, I suspect the closer we get to the deadline, the more crowded office hours are going to get, which is fine. I'll help everybody that I can. But just know you might have to wait a little longer as we get closer to the deadline, because more students come to see me when important assignments are due. You can also email me, and I can help you out with emails. So please reach out if you have questions or concerns or needs with this. Okay? Again, this essay is 30% of your grade. It's an important assignment, so please get started early, and I really look forward to reading all your papers. Okay, everybody.